Hi, name's Jame, and welcome to day 8 of my Build a Day challenge. Yesterday, we built this circus tent, which looks pretty good on the inside, but took a little long, and this roof it certainly was a time trying to get that right. So today I'm going to be doing something a little bit more simple, that doesn't involve these crazy shapes in order to get this sort of roof onto it. Today I'm going to be building a sort of modern suburban library. So lots of stones, big glass windows, that sort of thing. And I'll be focusing a fair amount on the interior here, just because, it's a library. Otherwise, it's just a building. Um, but this time I'm definitely going to be using a block palette just so I can get an idea of what I'm actually going to be building this main thing out of. I tend to have quite the I don't know, love for andesite as a texture. Um, and in my head, I'm imagining this is mostly andesite, but I'm thinking it's probably a better idea to broaden what I'm willing to build something out of. So I'll just have a look through the creative inventory and pick some blocks. So, palette chosen. Um, I couldn't think of anything better than my standard Old Faithful andesite, so I'm going to be doing that, but also probably some sort of gradient similar to this, because the Wizard Tower turned out really well with the gradient. Um, and it occurs to me that it's going to be very similar to the modern house as far as shape. I'm planning on doing some sort of thing like this with an overhang and a second floor for seating, and the bottom floor being for, the books in the library. Um, but I think I'm still going to go with it, even though it is really similar to that. So I'm just going to outline where that's going to be. Okay, so here's the basic structure I was looking at for how this library is going to look. Um, so this would be the entrance through here. I'm going to do it on a diagonal and then have uh, bookshelves on either side of the diagonal and probably some sort of staircase, perhaps a spiral staircase, either at the end or on one of the corners here that will lead up to a second floor that's going to have a big window along the outside here and have lots of seating areas for people to get their work done. Now, this is my idea for what the roof is going to look like. It's going to continue along this side as well and meet up at this point right here on both sides. Um, Sort of be a slant, a diagonal all the way down. As you can probably see, that's the angle it's going to be. Um, so I think that's probably going to be fairly good. My plan is also around the second floor. I'm going to swap from using these stone colored blocks, the tough stone and the two andesites, and start using calcite and some quartz as well, just to have a separation. Alternatively, if I don't end up wanting to use the whites, it might contrast too much. I might go for some either darker or lighter grays, um, but we'll see when we get there. For now, I'm just going to work on this bottom floor, probably some sort of light um, gradient sort of things happening down here, but nothing too crazy. So I'll check in once that's done. Update. So I've done a bit more work than I said I was going to do, but that's just how it goes. Um, so you'll also notice, first of all, that these aren't the same blocks that are in this palette. It was originally these four, but I decided that it would be a little bit better to have a sort of lighter um, wall color for the outside. So I've done that. So instead of using stone and andesite, I've gone from tough to gravel to, I think this is light gray, um, yeah, light gray concrete powder. So it works quite well, I would say. Um, I've also, on the inside, put bricks for the actual wall of the interior. I think it'll look much nicer than having this gradient on the inside as well. And I've done a bit of work on what the entrance is going to look like, and I think it's quite good. I don't actually think this will particularly need a door as such. Um, if anything, I would imagine, like, quote unquote, in real life, this would have some sort of shutter door. Um, but during the day, the doors would stay open, is my thinking behind it. So I might put something in there, I might not. We'll figure that out later. I've also decided that the roof I'm actually going to make copper. Um, or non-oxidized copper, just because it adds a color that is probably going to be needed. Because otherwise it's just going to be white and gray rather than having any sort of colors. And that's quite important for a build, for I've discovered that having extra colors than just gray is a good idea. So what I'm working through at the moment is I'm going to be putting in the roof all the way to the top here, just so I can know what my constraints are as far as build style on the inside and the outside for the second half. I might even be able to put in a small third floor up here, perhaps just a viewing window out, to what eventually will be a lot more builds in this direction. So I will be working on that. So I've finished with the roof. I did have a bit of trouble on this one section here, trying to get them back aligned, and I had to actually use a debug stick to fix these stairs in this position. But other than that, the roof sort of went off without a hitch. It's almost entirely just cut copper stairs, so nice and easy. And I then extended this wall all the way up to that roof. I'm going to have to do something else with this because this is quite a large section. So the second floor will almost be able to go all the way around. It'll certainly be able to go all the way along this bit, and I think I'd be able to get a third floor in as well. So what I might start working on here is just figuring out the scale of the next couple of floors, and I'll check back in once I've done that. Okay, so here's the next update. So I've put in what the second floor is going to look like, and I'm really liking how this build is going at the moment. I think it's turning out quite nice, and I've also sort of seen what the shape of this second floor will be. I'll put a staircase through here. Not 100% sure how it's going to fit in and work, but I'll figure it out. And then it goes out into this L-shaped build. Again, I already had the debug stick, so I used these deep slate walls and connected them onto these chains. Wouldn't be able to do this normally, but good old debug stick does everything you need. And up at the top, where the third floor could, in theory, be, there just is not enough space. It really pushes up against the roof. So I decided instead I'm going to try and spell out something, or perhaps do some diagonal pixel art somehow of a book, something like that. So I will work on that probably last. But before then, I'm going to start getting some interior stuff done, because it is very, very plain, especially on this ground floor here. So I'm going to get started on that. All right, so I've finished off the interiors here. So I've put all hidden lighting and everything in there as well. So this is just a fairly standard library interior, lots of bookshelves. I use some lecterns here, just sort of seeming like perhaps this is where the receptionist is, where you can take books out and whatnot. This, I was assuming you could possibly might put some barrels in there before I finish today, just to have some sort of, perhaps long-term storage for the library. Upstairs, I've put in this staircase through here, first of all, lined it with, what are they called, iron bars, and that seems to work quite nicely. And I've just put some tables through here. I was a little squashed for space for chairs, so I used these chains and andesite walls with carpet and trapdoors, and they look like chairs, so I'm pretty happy there. Last thing I need to do is I'm going to attempt to make some sort of book, or either a book or text in here. If I can't make it with blocks, I'll use banners and put, I don't know, library, just with banners along here, placing them on the blocks at a diagonal. But we'll see. I'm going to attempt a book first, and I'll show you whether that works out or not. Book update. It doesn't work. I'm going to use banners. There you go. So you saw that I gave up on making a book pixel art. There just was not enough space for here, let alone to try and do it diagonally. So I just gave up, and I used these text banner patterns, and I found online this book banner pattern as well, because I had one extra spot, and that all works quite well. So you've already seen the interior, so I think that's enough and the end for today's Build a Day challenge. Hope to see you tomorrow, and as always, thank you very much.